Is Bobbi Althoff an industry plant? This was the question on everyone's minds as this young TikToker who seemingly came out of nowhere pulled some of the most exclusive celebrities for her really good podcast. You guys, when I say exclusive celebrities, this is no understatement. Bobbi Althoff has managed to interview, just in her first few episodes, people by the likes of Drake, Mark Cuban, Tyga, Shaq, and so much more. Many have speculated as to how Bobbi was able to elevate her career in what seemed like the snap of a finger, and thought there had to be some powerful people in the industry pulling all the strings.
People believe Bobbi Althoff is a podcast industry plant because it feels as her interviews with famous rappers have come out of thin air. They have.
Like out of nowhere.
4 episodes into her podcast, the really good podcast, Bobbi had Drake on. Yeah, how do you get the Drake interview?
It's got to be because she signed with those people.
But how do you sign with those people before having success?
It's not surprising that people are skeptical her success is fully organic. After all, just prior to this podcasting career, Bobbi was a mom TikToker who made satirical content about motherhood. So the niches have very few similarities and attract different audiences.
Always DM me and tell me to try a shirt like this because they think that since it's asymmetrical, it'll make my boobs look even. I finally got my hands on one. So I'm going to try it today because I'm going to a children's birthday party and I really don't want to scare the kids too much. They did not hire me as the clown. I'm going to do my best. So, okay, I should have listened to you guys sooner because I cannot believe this.
And yeah, a lot of people rushed to find out her upbringing and whether or not she had any connections that could have aided in her come up, which is understandable. When you go look up Bobbi Althoff, a lot of information seems to be purposely hidden. For example, her Wikipedia page is like 5 paragraphs with hardly any information in the early life section. She clearly hasn't consented to the release of any information about her parents, and with the information she has given, people don't seem to be able to find it. We know Bobbi has 2 daughters and that her husband has made a career in programming. But the closest I've been able to get to figuring out more is through Reddit. And honestly, that's not saying much. Anyway, the conversation slowly shifted from questioning Bobbi's connections to outright claiming the podcast just sucks altogether. People really seem to find an issue with Bobbi not only having access to all of these celebrities, but also making content that the public deems to find annoying, boring, or out of touch. Many fans of celebrities feel like the podcast style is tired and they'd rather watch something where they actually learn something about their favorite celebrity. Another thing that has seemed to annoy podcasters and fans alike is the fact that she's managed to interview many urban celebrities like Offset, Drake, and Tyga, and people feel like Black interviewers would have actually been prepared for them with meaningful questions that their fans would have appreciated. So there's this idea that not only does Bobbi not deserve to interview these people because she is boring, but also because she is ungrateful and maybe even a little deceitful. Many have taken issue with Bobbi's mentioning of money and how she has very little of it. She has not only asked several guests on her podcast jokingly for money, it just seems like she often tries to make lack of money the topic of conversation or the punchline in many situations. I think the main reason why people take issue with this is because Bobbi is married to an established author, and basically people think she's being fake when she acts like she struggles with money. People also see Bobbi as somewhat deceitful due to her entire story of how she met Drake by just sliding into his DMs, and her subsequent story of how she got signed to one of the most prestigious labels in entertainment.
And then Drake, you slide into Drake's...
My video with Marco went very viral.
Yeah.
Like, very viral. I didn't
That's
expect
when I first started. That's
Okay.
when I became aware of you.
Yeah, then Drake liked one of the videos I had uploaded and he followed me. And I was like, okay, I'm going to shoot my shot to Drake. I don't know how this... I thought the chance of him replying was like a 1%, and then the chance of him saying yes was like 0.000. I was like, there's no way. I said, when are you going to come on my podcast?
And he just was
he said,
game right away.
Yeah, he was ready to do it. I flew out there I think 3 days later.
Wow.
And then you're off to the races. Now you can kind of get anybody you want.
Yeah.
We can go even further into why Bobbi isn't particularly liked, and in this case, specifically by the more urban side of the internet. Okay, I'll just say it. Black Twitter. People seem to find her disrespectful to urban culture, using it only to her benefit, and disrespecting the artist as soon as the interview is out. The publicized examples are clearly that of Lil Yachty and Drake, where she talked about not wanting to do the interview with Drake in the first place after rumors ensued that her and Drake had an affair and she was divorcing her husband because of it, and where she talked about feeling uncomfortable and not wanting to be there in reference to her interview with Lil Yachty.
Because he was awkward. I walked into his house. He didn't even like say hi to me. So then I was like, said, let's go to the bathroom. So then we go to the bathroom and then we like get out. And then he's like, he's just sitting there with like his two assistants and he's not even acknowledging that I'm like in the room. And my camera guy is like setting up. I'm just sitting there like
skin
on
crawling.
my phone, like I'm like trying, and then he comes up, he's like, oh hi, gives me like a half hug, and I'm just like hi, then goes back to his spot, and I'm like, dude, I don't even want to do this. I'm texting my friend like, Ashley, I need to leave, this is so awkward, I don't want it, like what am I doing?
I think the main issue here is that people feel like somebody who has not put the time in, who has not put in as much work in, is getting opportunities to interview these high profile celebrities that, quite frankly, many have worked so hard for and will probably still never be able to accomplish. DJ Academics, a popular YouTube personality infamously known for celebrity and pop culture commentary, seems to believe she's an industry plant. And DJ Academics even suggested that artists were tired of her behavior as well, which I honestly don't know what to believe, because don't they know the style of the podcast?
I think people have been wondering, is she a plant? Now, I'm going to be honest with you. Like, this is just my honest opinion. Bobbi Althoff is 100% a plant. And what I mean a plant is that I'm not doubting her talent. I'm not doubting her style. I'm not doubting anything to do with the work she might have done to get these interviews or do them or get them out or be entertaining in them. I am doubting the way that things aligned for her to be this viral. People like Bobbi Althoff are chosen. They're chosen by the people that me and you don't see. I don't know the full details, you know. I heard she got a little big-headed, man. I feel like she's stuck in character.
Yeah, she tried to say Yachty made her feel weird and awkward. Like,
that's where that came from.
Black men, bro.
Yeah, that's what that came from. Like,
you can't do that.
She made Yachty seem like he was a fucking creep.
Yeah, like she's bugging.
Insane,
bro.
Like,
But I will say that there are a few moments where the podcast does appear to get awkward, and Bobbi isn't contributing anything to the conversation, and it seems like the artist is almost annoyed or carrying the conversation, or both.
Obviously, and your shoes.
This is the thing. So, like, how long have you been in your career, like, interviewing?
Like a couple months.
How's it going?
It's going okay.
Lucrative?
And now it is, yes. It wasn't up until now. Now it's really lucrative. It's a big word.
Yeah. You thought I didn't know big words?
No, I
always see that. Always is the story. That's always the storyline. They think, well, no, you see what I'm saying? That's a little ignorant.
But others think it's the opposite, or rather a shaking of hands of some sort. Someone on Reddit suggested that the artists who go to talk to Bobbi Althoff are aware that she caters to an audience that they may not typically reach, but can seem relatable to if they do an episode of the podcast. And this point does kind of make sense for some artists, but definitely not people like Drake, who undoubtedly has white fans. He has a white fan base, men and women alike. But we also have to remember that there's an exchange of money here, and we have no idea how much it is, which could very well be what's driving this entire operation. I think sometimes people forget that these artists get paid to do interviews. But Bobbi hasn't made any statements that indicate she understands any of the backlash she's receiving. In fact, she has made many jokes about being planted by the industry. The closest we've gotten to understanding this character that Bobbi has created, or where her mindset is at, is this statement she made about the paradoxical nature of the Really Good podcast. She basically says that the podcast is supposed to be a parody of a really good podcast. Essentially, she's supposed to be cringy and uninterested, and the questions aren't supposed to be good, or else it would just be an actual interview. But I think people get what it's supposed to be. They just don't like the way she approaches this niche. I suppose, especially since people like Eric Andre, Zach Galifianakis, Those people were more entertaining to the majority. While Bobbi may stand by her podcast style completely and hasn't really commented on the many people who dislike her, she did make a YouTube short where she seemed to be showing, appreciation for the people who have been supporting her. And she also reveals a little about her upbringing, which I'm surprised people don't bring up. But maybe it's because, like I said, most people swear she is a plant. And that wouldn't help the narrative very much, would it?
Growing up, my sister and I got free school lunches, worked with our parents cleaning houses, and watched as our parents' card got declined at checkout buying groceries. Social media has changed my life in ways I never thought possible. As a child, Christmas was always hard for my family, and the few times we were gifted things from those who were more fortunate, it meant so much to us. So I'm continuing the tradition I started last year, and I will be giving back $10,000 in presents to the people who have helped me be where I am today and are struggling like I was. Go to my Instagram for more details on how to be considered. Thank you guys so much for everything you've done for me.
So I think people on social media are mostly divided on whether or not they like Bobbi Althoff. TikToks like the one of her at Drake's concert received quite a few negative comments, mostly saying that it wasn't funny and essentially she thought she ate that, but the plate was still full, you know what I mean? People are also awarding Offset Comedy King of the Internet because they just love the fact that he called her an unseasoned piece of chicken, which y'all are horrible. But the latest news is that people think Bobbi Althoff is racist. I don't know how to feel about this because it's quite literally based off of a 15-second clip of Bobbi's upcoming interview with Scarlett Johansson, where she appears to have sort of dropped the whole uninterested, rather be somewhere else character that she usually puts on. And yeah, obviously people think that she's acting this way because that is one of her fellow white women. I don't know why I'm making this sign, but I will say that Bobbi may not have interviewed a white woman before, but she has interviewed white men. So unless they're saying that white women specifically, like not just white people, white women specifically, I'm not sure how I feel about it because she does appear to be quite mean to white men as well. So we probably just have to see the entire interview to really gauge what's going on and what other people are seeing. I'm about to wrap this video up, but let me just say I think it's okay to create content strictly for entertainment and not necessarily to answer the burning questions of an artist's fans. But I also understand that it's the pure lack of interest that really bothers people. Like, sure, the really good podcast can be just as it is. But the comments about not wanting to be there even after the fact, even after the interview is over, really make it seem like the character and the real person aren't that far apart in terms of personality. And let's not forget, this character isn't really the most likable. Even in the video that I just mentioned of her appreciating her fans, it didn't seem heartfelt. She still seemed very monotone and almost still in character. Let me know what you think about that in the comments. But let's not forget that people have definitely made similar content to this, and although it may not be to everyone's liking, you can kind of tell that they have a genuine love and respect for what they do, and they appreciate the fact that they're able to interview artists of such caliber. And they truly understand the privilege of having the time of their guests. And Naomi Cannibal already made a fantastic video where she talks about Amelia de Moldenberg and Chicken Shop Date and how that was something that had a very similar interview style but still was not off-putting. So you guys should go check out that video. I'm not going to go into detail about that because she obviously already did. I think moving forward, Bobbi might have to switch it up even in the slightest bit if she wants to maintain a large audience. Like I stated earlier, the comments are getting more and more mean as the podcast becomes more known. But at the same time, it really seems like the media is pushing this content to the forefront, so it's no question that celebrities are gonna get recommended this podcast. So what do you guys think about this podcast longevity wise? Do you think it will stand the test of time or will people grow tired of it? Let me know in the comments down below. I can't wait to read them and I will see you in the next video. Bye.